Welcome, everybody, to Generation Dan, the podcast that is brought to you by City Bike. Why? No reason. No reason at all. I am Atlas Novak. I'm your millennial. Who else is here with me?
I'm Dino the Genetic Marva, and I'll tell you, I don't care if it's City Bike or not. I won't ride you, but I will take your money. That's fair. That's reasonable.
Our guest today, the man with the mostest Coke bottleless glasses, it's Teddy Margas, everybody.
Teddy Margas, yay!
A fantastic man, a wonderful experience. Teddy, how are you?
I am good. I am great, actually. I had a lovely pandemic. Why, I had a lovely pandemic.
I mean, listen, after all is said and done, this was the wildest part about it was that how often in life do we say, like, oh, if I just had some downtime, I could get stuff together and everything. And then, all of a sudden, the 2 weeks to flatten the curve turned into 6 months. And it was like, I don't really have any more excuses in my back pocket. I got to kind of do something.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? Right.
That's true. I mean, I used to spend my nights in bed going, I need a year off.
Yeah.
I need a year off. I need to do this, and this. And then when it hit, we had 2 weeks and I got finished everything. It turns out I only needed 2 weeks.
I mean, okay. But that being said, right, like there are a lot of unions and professions that do offer a sabbatical where you get a reduced after X amount of years of service, you are able to get a year off at a reduced pay. And like, in all honesty, that is something that all jobs should have, because look, after 10 years of doing any job, take a year off, go do something,
Something. I mean, I just wanted 2 weeks to do normal shit. You know what I mean?
And go grocery shopping, do the laundry. 2 weeks.
Exactly. Because my schedule was so crazy, and I was like, oh, you know what? I don't feel like doing that today.
Yeah.
I just want to chill. Next day, I don't feel like doing that today. And then before you know it, it's like backs up, and it's just like, damn, I just need a year. But 2 weeks was plenty.
I mean, it's factual.
All that time. Ooh,
hello, Mason. Hello, Alepro, Ethan, Mikey.
Yay!
Thank you for subscribing. Absolutely. Make
sure to like and subscribe. If you're listening to this on your podcast app, give us a sub. That's always nice.
Listen, if you don't subscribe to all of our channels, God won't love you. I'm just telling you up in advance. I have a quick line. It's like it's a purple phone, just so you know, not red. And you just one button and be like, that person doesn't get it.
See, I'm thinking of that weird hotline they had between the White House and the Kremlin during the Cold War, where it was like the big comically red phone.
Yeah.
To like talk to the Soviet premier or whatever.
Like the bat phone.
Exactly, right? But hilariously, they never knew if it actually worked. They didn't know where it ended up. They just assumed that it worked, and thank God nobody ever had to use it.
I just love
Thank you.
Like it ends up in a payphone in Moscow somewhere, and then someone's like, yes, it's me, Khrushchev. Are you sure? This doesn't sound like Khrushchev. I have a cold. What is it?
I mean, it's fair. Thank you, Alepro. We appreciate you greatly. Listen, today we are talking about happiness, everyone, because let's be honest, things happen. Things are happening on a daily basis, and one of the great things that I heard a while ago was, did you have a bad day, or did you allow one interaction ruin your entire day? And like, we're all guilty of it. I'll be the first to admit that. But like, once you actively know that is an option, you kind of like, I've tried to explain this other times where it's like, I do my best to not let anything someone else does affect my emotions. I'm in control of my emotions like 40% of the time, at least. And the other times I'm sleeping. So, that's fair. I think that's something that we have to Like it's a skill that you have to exercise.
See, this is the kind of stuff that Hulk says when he's in that weird half Hulk, half human thing in the Marvel movies later, where it's like, "Oh, I'm a Hulk, but with glasses." That's the kind of stuff he says.
I mean, I feel like that's just a worthwhile thing, and you're like, you wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, and then he's like, "Wah!" Like I feel like a good movie.
Guy with glasses. What's it called? I've told this story before because it happened months ago, but the day that my catalytic converter got stolen, it wasn't the catalytic converter that ruined it. It's that I was sick and going to work, and I was like, oh, I feel gross. Okay, just try and get through the day. And then when I turned on my car and it sounded like a Harley Davidson, I was like, fuck this, I'm not going to work. Like the second thing was what derailed everything, not the first.
I feel like you had the most gangster Prius on the street, though. Let's be honest. Like you turned it on, you're like, whoa, okay, all right, everybody, mind your business.
Prius,
and not immediately too. Like I got on the freeway and I was like, this isn't gonna work. I got off at the next exit and then came back home and called.
I've had days where every single thing goes wrong, and you're like, okay, and then you drop your keys and you're like, mother.
Like, just the one little thing that like
that one. It was drop the keys. Then fucking, you're like, okay, you know, the world collapsed around you, but you dropped your keys.
Yeah, that will break.
Pick them up.
Hilariously, I have a toilet that is not working right now, and it happened randomly, and it ended up that water leaked out, not poop water, but just water. So I'm like, okay, it's okay.
Fresh toilet water.
Right. So I'm like, I ran to where the tools are, and I have actively told my wife for years, I'm like, listen, we build shelves and then you put drawers in them. Fine. Don't put things in front of the drawers. We need to access the drawers. And sure as fuck, I turned the corner and the drawer I needed is just got a row of things in front of it. And I'm like, oh, and you know what? Not the time. It's not the time.
Now I know why Katie won't let me in the kitchen while she's cooking, because she's like, you're just a big dumb lummox who's in front of the drawer. I needed that particular time. Just get the fuck out. I'm like,
100%. It's easier just to be out of the way, and that. Hold on, let me give a second here. But that's people don't realize that, and it's important. Can I have a shout out? Alipro123. Of course, I'm new and I'm trying to get big. You pronounce my name Alipro123. Absolutely, sir. And thank you for subscribing to all of our channels. And just remember, it's the right thing to do.
I just love the idea of making it like a moral thing. Like when you subscribe to Hammered and Cheese.
Yes.
You're doing the right thing for your country and as a goddamn American or Canadian, whatever.
As a human being, you watch, you should subscribe, period. And that's, I am an avid liker. If I see something and it is mildly entertaining, I will give it a like. Why? It costs me nothing. And I know the joy that I receive when a lot of people like my stuff. I don't know you and you've given me joy. That is the most human thing that you can do, because let's be honest, a good society is one where young people plant trees that they'll never experience the shade of. That's the whole idea of the universe. Don't try and step to me, sir. Okay, don't with your burping. Okay, I am the burper here. Let's be very clear.
I was trying to punch.
I have to say that was a lame burp. That was weak.
It was.
That was weak.
I kind of expected him to throw up a little bit. It was kind of funny. That
was a burp with a little acid reflux.
It's gonna come out my nose. Don't do that. Oh,
you do that burp again, sir. That was weak. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I'm only about a third of the way through this can, so.
Yeah.
What is it again?
It's like that weird. It's the prebiotic soda, but it's their version of Dr. Pepper. So it's pretty
prebiotic. Good. Okay.
I mean, it's like I feel like you're giving the devil a good job. Dr. Pepper and a probiotic. Prebiotic, whatever you want.
Well, Dr. Pepper is already kind of sort of a laxative anyway, so it's just kind of putting a hat on a hat.
I feel like you have bigger issues, sir, if you drink Dr. Pepper and you're like, well, now I got to poop. That's
no, like literally it has a laxative effect. Not even on me, like in general.
And now I got to Google that. So that's going to be the rest of my day.
Now I got to get Dr. Pepper.
I mean, some days you're just a little bit one of those kind of things.
I had a little too much cheese. I need me a Dr. Pep.
See, okay. Have you guys heard about this? That a lot of people who are lactose intolerant are going on a milk bender and it's curing their lactose intolerance. Like this is
like where
an
you just
actual
get the shits one last time and then that's it. Like,
and then your body like it adapts. It's like a 2-week process, and apparently people are like, because let's be honest, there's nothing worse than be like, I'm gonna have some cheese, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm gonna shit my pants. Like that is a horrible.
You know what it is? It's because it tastes like plums, prune juice. The shits.
I mean, that's fair.
where that comes from. Okay,
I mean, that's reasonable, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, because the idea is an allergy is your body thinking this is poison, we can't do this again, and you being the person who is stuck to the toilet, you're like, well, of course I'm not going to do this again.
Listen, if cheese is poison, I don't want to live in that world. Well, poison me immediately.
But exactly, it's the equivalent of like your dad throwing you in the pool to teaching you how to swim, but with the shits, I guess.
I mean, being of Greek descent.
Yes.
My grandmother was from the village.
Yeah.
And she had all these, they call them wives' tales, anecdotes, whatever. If you had a headache, she did this. If you had that, it was always these crazy things, but it always worked. And she would like, if we were like dirty or, in the yard eating dirt as a child, and my mom would be freaking out. My grandmother would be like, no, let him. It'll build up his system. And hey.
Listen, you get a cut, rub a little dirt on it. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I think there is totally something to that. Like if you have an allergy to this, load up on it.
Yeah. Well, or like my sister and I we were the barefoot kids in the neighborhood all the time, just walking around.
Hey, that's good for you. It is like it's statistically better for you. Yeah. I like this. I identify with the first brother and the last bald troop.
Okay, I mean, Zaref, in my defense, I shaved my head around Halloween, and this is me growing it back. How well it's going to grow back, I don't know. We'll see how that works out.
And honestly, I am so jealous of Teddy's hair. It is fantastic, and I hate you a little bit for it, Teddy. It's beautiful.
Right here, look at this. Check it out.
So okay.
Oh, he's got this where like it just
Look at it. It's going away. What's going on here? Not happy.
Teddy, I had a joke that I premiered, I recorded it, and I walked up, I said, how was everyone's pandemic? It was a little rough. I go, so I inherited an island, and you see everyone just goes, motherfucker. And I'm like, yeah, it's got a lot of beachfront property, year-round access. It's very beautiful. I keep it right here. Just right here. I got it from my father, and this is where I love it. And everyone just went, you bastard. I got everybody. I sent it to a friend of mine in Vancouver, and he was like, bro, I was watching it go, if any motherfucker I know is going to get an island, it's going to be this bastard. And then I finished the joke. He's like, you got me. And I'm like, there you go. That's how you do it.
I was telling my mom, like, I'm probably going to go bald. And she's like, no, you'll be fine. And I'm like, Mom, it comes from your side of the family. And I've seen my cousin and my uncle on your side. And then it just kind of hung in the air for a couple minutes. And, so, I know that shaving bald is an option, but I don't like being cold all the time. And you're right, Ali Pro. We should have way more subscribers.
Yes, we appreciate that. We really do. That's so. The last couple days, we've had a family event. Someone passed away, and we had the burial, and it involved a whole ceremony thing. And I forgot my toque, and I'm like, "Listen."
Oh, you forgot your what?
A toque. Toque. Yes, that's no. Yeah, these are all original, like, baby. So I forgot my toque. Luckily, I had a cashmere scarf on, so I just lifted it over my head, so I kind of looked like a little babushka. But I'm like, that's fine. But oh man, the day after, I kept on feeling my face. I'm like, I feel like my face is thawing. It was so cold. It was like a brutal wind. But Atlas, it's that's the one thing. I'm like, I see people with lots of hair, and I'm like, I'm jealous of how hot your head is. My head is frozen right now, but whatever. Proto Baggins Co-Dogs. Thank you. Fantastic.
I don't know. It's probably going to happen, and I don't know if I'm going to do it like one of the other English teachers actually has the just kind of letting himself go
Yeah.
Or compare that to one of the other English teachers who fully shaved his head. I feel like I have like a choose your own adventure in the rest of the English department where I could be one or the other
Why not?
English teacher. Now, one thing I know I'm not is the fourth English teacher who is a lesbian. That's probably not going to happen.
You do like women, so
good point.
So
that is a good point.
You are a lesbian technically. Okay. So I do perform at a bar that's a little bit outside of the city, and as everyone knows, as soon as you leave the city proper, things get a little lax with regards to acceptance, and you can say whatever you want basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I went on stage and I said I shaved my head in support of the 4B movement. Also, I'm not banging any dudes for the next 4 years, which is making my wife happy. And no one did anything. I'm like, that's a good joke.
That is a good joke. Yeah.
I know. I was so angry. I was like, that's hilarious.
Ali's Pro is asking if I can donate. I'm wondering if we should start some sort of Patreon or something.
Eventually. So if you go to Dino the Genetic Marvel, I am monetized, so you can give me a super chat there, and we would graciously accept it, and I will lord it over Atlas's head for his entire life. So please feel free.
I guess the way to do it in my case is this username is the same on Venmo. Do with that information what you will, I guess.
Can't you request money on Venmo too? Be like, you owe me, Atlas Novak.
You can, but you can also just be like, no, I'm good. I occasionally I will go on Venmo and like look up rich people, like celebrities and stuff who have Venmo accounts, and I'll just be like $1,000 or like $100 tacos, and just see if they like give without noticing what's going on, because it's usually like a PA who has their phone who's like, I think so.
The one thing that the one thing I didn't do for my wedding, and I should have told you to do this for yours, Atlas, was to send an invitation to the office of every billionaire you can find that's in your area, just because there's a good chance they'll just send you a gift and not attend, which was in Growing Pains. There's a show, they invited Donald Trump, and Donald Trump gave them money. And I'm like, that's an actually happened on the show.
Now, you can also do what put joke gifts on your on your registry, like a human-sized dog bed, and then your aunt who you never see sends you a human-sized dog bed. Thanks, Aunt Patty. If you have,
that's a good aunt. Like let's be honest. She's like, I know you're gonna need it. It's fine.
Do you ever lay in that thing?
Oh hell, I sleep in this thing sometimes. Like it can hold me comfortably. I'm 6 feet tall.
I see them all the time. I see them, and I'm like, that looks really comfortable.
It is very comfortable. You know what's the best for? Watching movies.
Oh yeah.
Put this on the floor.
Yeah.
So good.
Well, because the laying down in front of your couch on the carpet, just listen, we're older. It's not going to work. Like 5 minutes later, I'm like, my ass hurts and my elbow is numb. I don't know what's happening. I'm not doing this anymore. But if you have a nice dog bed, like you can just chill out. It's very enjoyable. So,
Thanks, Patty.
Yeah. I mean, she knew what was happening. She knew you were going to be in the kitchen. You were going to bother your wife. And she's like, I'll get him a dog bed. He'll be fine. It's fine.
And she's like,
there you go. You went over to my channel. That's fine. Thank you, sir. We appreciate your support greatly. It's wonderful.
So they went from watching the stream on Dan's channel to your channel?
Probably.
Because this is also streaming on my channel, too.
Yeah, it's everywhere. Yeah. We're everywhere. We are taking over because God wills it. That's fine. No, it's so we have had an interesting week in the news, though. This is now, Atlas, you have to deal with insurance companies quite a bit. I'm in Toronto, Canada, guys, so I have healthcare. It's magnificent. And like, this is the thing, is people will shit on a Canadian healthcare system, but I'm like, listen, I'm 20 minutes away from like 6 university hospitals that are like the best in the country, if not North America, for what they do. So I'm like, if you're living in the boonies, yeah, you're just gonna die. That's how that works. So it's you know, but,
at the same time. Yes, you are.
I mean, in surround sound, you have bald in surround sound. It's nice. It's good. It's fine. But yeah, like, so for me, I'm like, it's great, but like, even I get extra benefits with Victoria's work. I used to get it through my work, and like that's, you get a deduction for therapy, massages. You get a reduced rate when it comes to prescriptions and stuff. But like my diabetes meds, which I'm off of now, which I know is very exciting. I trust me.
If you want to hear more about it,
October.
check out last week's episode with John Yabies. Oh wait, I had to take it down because it glitched out, and I'll be re-uploading it tomorrow. So for people who are watching this live Monday at 8 a.m., it'll be out because like I was watching it, and about like 10 minutes in, it was like just
Jesus,
blood down the face, pixels. I was like, oh, so I had to remake it.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys.
Eddie, have you ever had to fight with an insurance company before?
I fight all the time with the insurance company. When my mother died 3 years ago, and she during like the last 3 years was in and out of the hospital, and she couldn't deal with the insurance company, so it fell on my sister and I, and it was a constant, kind of a daily phone call that took forever. Over ridiculous, crazy things like
you're on hold for 45 minutes.
On hold for 45 minutes. 600 prompts. Go to here. No, she's not in our system. She's in your system. And then it got to the point where they wouldn't talk to me because I wasn't the patient. So
my God,
I honestly would call with all my mother's information in front of me and be like, hello, like I just
like pulling a Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
Help is on the way.
I was her. And it was this craziest things that when you got to the bottom of it, which took the bulk of your day, one time they charged her for a hospital stay. And we're like, why is she being charged for the hospital stay? No, they charged her for an ambulance. And it was something like $750 for the ambulance. And we're like, why is she being charged for the ambulance? Because it's coded as it wasn't a necessary call. Well, she was in the hospital for 3 weeks. How is it not necessary? And they were like, well, the ambulance tech had coded it. However he coded it,
right?
He coded it as not a necessary, emergency. So then she had to pay. We had to fight and send them paperwork and have we had to go through. That was just one little teeny tiny thing. And then she needed a surgery for something. And then the insurance wasn't going to cover it. And then when they were wheeling her into surgery. Meanwhile, she's in the hospital now. And they're like, hey, did you take this pill today? And she was like, yeah. Oh, well, we can't operate on you. You're not supposed to take that pill. Well, who the hell's supposed to tell you this? Wait a minute. She's not even taking her own pills. You guys are administering the pill.
Yeah, you're the one coming in with the thing in the little cup. Yeah.
I'm dealing it now with my dad now. My mom's gone, so we're like, oh, yay.
Yeah.
So we don't have to deal with the insurance company. Now I'm dealing with my dad. Every single month, they charge him for this one medication. And we have to call them and say, why is he being charged for this medication? Well, because it has to be approved by the doctor. He's been on it for 5 years. It's been approved every single month for 5 years. What are you doing?
Hey, and let's be honest. So after this week's events, there have been a significant amount of people's insurance that was denied up to like 2 years ago that's suddenly being approved because So and remember, Blue Cross Blue Shield, they brought out a thing that said, well, anesthesia is costing too much, so we're going to dictate how long we're going to cover anesthesia for. So in other words, if a doctor is performing a surgery and it goes past what they deem necessary, they're not going to pay for the rest. Now, hilariously, once I believe they're calling him the adjuster did his thing in New York City.
I haven't heard that yet. That's a cool name.
Within 23 hours, Blue Cross Blue Shield changed their opinion. They're like, oh, we're not doing that anymore. And you're like, even McDonald's brought out the snack wrap. They're like, listen, we're on the good side here. Yeah. Which, let's be honest, there are two CEOs that everyone loves. Number one is Arizona Iced Tea. Number two is Costco, for the simple fact that the one guy was like, hey, we should raise the price of the hot dogs. He said, if you raise the price of the hot dogs, I'll will kill you. Yeah. Which I'm like, I respect that, man, because those hot dogs, top tier hot dogs. So,
Cole says the medical field are full of idiots who want to make money, not work. That's not the medical field. That's the insurance field. There's a book called Bullshit Jobs, which I've plugged over and over and over on the show by David Graeber. That's fantastic. Where the vast majority of jobs in society don't need to be there, including insurance. And both of my parents worked in medicine as a doctor and a nurse. And I was talking to my mom about this yesterday. where I asked her opinion of the adjuster.
Yeah.
And she said, when I met your dad in 1984 as a nurse, that was not a thing, insurance. It was just paid for by the state. It is not something that needs to be there. My job, she's a patient advocate, which is basically you hire her to help you get through the American medical system. Should not exist. I'm happy it happened. And I was like, Mom, wow. Also, I don't think I've heard you say the phrase "I'm happy" in a very long time. So good for you.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. D1 Venter. Can I say the N word? No. There you go. That's the N word you can say. Yeah. But so this is the thing. Okay, but let's not forget that the medical field is full of infidels. Now,
I have no idea what he means by that.
It's fine. But the problem is that the medical fields and universities, because remember, two fields that should never be profitable: education and healthcare. They should just be and housing. Absolutely. Yeah. Right. So those three things should just be I believe that those should be covered with tax dollars, and everyone should be paid reasonably and fairly, but it shouldn't be a profitable venture. That's a ludicrous idea, because then you have what you have now, where people are just taking whatever they can take. Remember, this guy that was the head of it's United Healthcare was he had used a faulty AI that just randomly would deny claims, totally valid claims.
90% of claims were 90%. That is not how it should be.
But listen, and as a final number, United Healthcare was one of the companies that their coverage denial rate was 32%. You're like, bro, you're just not doing your job. You're just not doing your job, and that's you're going. Listen, on the shell casings was deny, defend, depose. You're like, bro, you lived by the sword and you died by that exact same sword. I'm sorry. That's exactly what happened.
For people wondering why those particular words, there is a book called Delay, Deny, Defend by a Rutgers Law University professor named Jay Feynman. That's about why these insurance companies do what they do and why those shell casings say that. And I would love to. Okay, so one of my Emrys is in medical school right now.
Yep.
And I would love to have them on the show at some point to talk about that, because
they're awesome.
Also just their relationship with this world that they're about to come into as a medical professional. Right. So I have my parents who were in it before this happened, a friend who's about to come into it. And as for me, my major stuff with healthcare, as an epileptic, the amount of things I've had to do, A, to just get meds, and B, in particular, dealing with specifically the side effects, trying to get from my second medication, Trileptal, which worked, but the side effects were so severe, to anything else took 3 months of pestering the insurance company, my doctor, back to the insurance company, back to my doctor, back and forth for so long.
Yeah.
Even the medical professionals complain about the insurance companies. I have medical professionals in my family, and they have a whole department. They have a whole department just to deal with this and the insanity that insurance has become.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ali. And I'm okay now, but part of the reason,
kind of.
every okay has an asterisk next to it. But I think that part of the reason that I went into teaching is not just because you'd be good at it, you have the public speaking. Part of it is that it's a public sector job that's tied to the government.
Yeah.
So my healthcare is tied to that. So I can just have one less thing on my shoulder all the time.
Listen, that's a smart move. The problem is you shouldn't have to do that.
Correct. Right? I shouldn't have to. Correct.
And also, so Cole, to clarify, says doctors and nurses cheat at an unparalleled rate. That is
I disagree with him on that. Not to say they don't at all.
How many divorces your dad had?
Wrong kind of cheating. He's had one. My mom's had 3.
Oh wow!
What? You just proved his point. Jesus! Oh my God!
But it wasn't because of cheating. One of them was gay.
Here's one. No, that's the whole idea. Like you said, Cole, is it's not about look. The fact that there is insurance is a good thing.
Oxygen, war, prison, and should be for profit or should not be for. I think he meant to say
should not.
Okay, then I agree with him there. Good.
Ali Pro, I am having a terrible day, and you guys have just made me smile for the first time today.
Thanks.
Boom! That's how that works. Hey,
prioritize happiness.
We're here for.
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing is like. After all said, so I do. There's a couple things that I've been trying to incorporate in my daily life, and that has made a big difference. Is every interaction I have with a person is they go, "Hi, how can I help you?" And I'm like, "How are you today?"
Yeah.
And I just stop the conversation right there. How are you today? And they're like, "Oh, I'm okay. How are you?" I'm like, "I'm having a great day. Thanks for asking."
Yeah.
And that now we know we're both human beings, and everything's going to be okay. And if I have a problem, I've called up and say, "Hey, how are you today?" Good. I'm doing well. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I really want to apologize in advance. I'm having a problem and I really need help here. So I don't mean to be short or curt with you, but I'm really in a frustrated situation. So I'm really doing my best not to lose my cool. But please understand that I'm having a lot of problems here and I really could use somebody that could solve it. And they go,
a long way. That goes a long way.
It's definitely how I've gotten past those barriers before. It's just been like, look, I know I'm like, customer number 17 in the queue or whatever, but like I'm having a bad day. How's yours going? And then like you break down the weird two-way mirror between you. And
so much of the training and policy that is created in the general world is meant to disassociate a situation. So like, think about it. Lawyers, you're like, oh, you have to have a moral box. Like those are your morals. You're going, hey, that's not a thing. You're making it up. You're making it up so that you don't feel bad after what you've done. Guess what? There's a reason nobody likes lawyer. You're the worst. You're horrible human beings. That's fine.
Just showed my film study Chicago this week, and it was interesting talking about Billy Flynn. Where like his character is, I will do my job if you pay me, but that's the only way I'm doing my job. I'm not doing this. All I care about is not love. Pay me $5,000. I'll do my job and I'll do it well. But aside from that, get fucked. And that's a horrible person, but it's morally consistent at least. Right.
I just did a reel with, I forget, the one guy, the gay guy in The Office. I forget what his name was, and he's like
Gabe, the character.
No, it's he's Latin. Anyways, Oscar. Yeah. So Oscar goes, I like to think of myself as a good person, but I'm gonna try and make him cry. And I'm going, I get that. I wholeheartedly get it. But that's the thing is, you're going. You have to have a certain if somebody's really aggravating me, I said, I feel like you're incompetent at what you're doing right now. And they get so angry. And I'm like, I'm sorry, that's not a swear word. I can call you incompetent. It's a valid statement. I'm like, I'm giving you everything I need and you're not fixing it. You are incompetent at what I need from you. I'm sorry. And that's, Cole's like manipulation. I love it. I mean, listen, once I've established that I'm a human being and you're a human being and we can treat each other like human beings and both attack a problem, that is a reasonable request. It's not,
That's how you're supposed to fight with your significant other too. Is it's supposed to be you two versus the problem, not you versus the other person. And
I don't know about that with a significant other. That's your sounding board. That's the one.
Okay. There's that. And then manipulation implies that you're doing it for nefarious means, but you're doing it to get your self-care and not at the expense of others. And fuck you if you say that oh, the insurance company is paying you for I will punch you in the mouth.
That's it. And I've told you Atlas this before, where I'm like, when Victoria and I first started dating, she would come to me with a problem and I'd be like, okay, listen, if you come to me with a problem, you're the problem now. It's you who brought it up. But if you come to me and say, hey, I need your input because I've done XYZ and it's not solving it. So you've shown me that we are on the same side and we can then attack the problem. But if you just come to me with the problem, you eventually you're the problem. Because think about it's that whole idea when someone is like, every boyfriend I've ever had has been toxic. You're like, let me tell you something. I think it might be you, right?
Not very
What's
dated.
the common denominator here?
Right? And it's one of those things where you're going like, look, we have politicians en masse are lawyers. You're going, okay, what was your job? I was a lawyer. Okay, then why are you a politician? You're not for the people. You have a moral box. That's not, you're a horrible person, right? You should not be. That's why you're going, listen, that should be educators, that should be scientists, that should be people in you should have construction workers being politicians. Why? Because every aspect of life is important. But when you have just one group of people that's dominating an entire decision-making group, they align themselves, and that's how. It's hard enough when you're saying, like, look, all these insurance companies. It's not like one of them where you're like, oh, they're the bad guy. No, they were all doing the same thing. They were all treating people poorly, and now they're all backtracking and going, oh no, we're good. And you're like, no, you're not. Why? Because if I pay insurance on a monthly basis, I expect that I will get the services I paid for. The fact that you're like, oh, well, we're not going to give that to you. Yeah, but I pay for it. Oh, but yeah, we're not going to pay. Why not? Because we're not going to. That's not a reason.
That's not an answer, yeah.
That just makes you a horrible thing. Also, Ali Pro, 7 spiders in your sleep over the course of the year. Those are low numbers, sir. You got to bring those up. You got to go 10 a night minimum. Okay.
I think that one's like one of those old, like you read it in like a fun fact book in 2nd grade or whatever, and then it just never goes away. I don't know if it's true.
It is not.
It's not.
No, they would most likely go into your ear before they would go into your mouth.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I feel like the wet cavern.
Yeah. Spiders don't like wet. They like dry and dark. That's that whole, right? That's why ear canal's great, and that's why like they go into your shirt and not like hang out on the outside.
That makes sense.
Things. I mean, always go for the crotch. Makes it a slip and slide. I don't know. It's like, what were your guys' opinions when you guys heard about this? Because let's be honest, this guy, like even the videos. So I believe the ransom or the
okay. So it started at 10,000, and then not enough, or like then the internet was like, awesome, cool, good for that guy, and then now they're upping it to 50,000.
Yeah,
and it's still not happening. In fact, there was a lookalike contest in Washington Square Park for the guy, where they're like, all right, bring your best smile and have your best hood. And
they're doing the lookalike on TikTok too.
Yeah, exactly. So
they show him, they show Anne Hathaway, and they're like, and the picture they look similar. You're like, was it Anne Hathaway?
Do you think if it's Anne Hathaway, she must have had like a snappy one-liner like, the devil wears Prada, bitch. And then
I mean, immediately. Someone else said it looked like Jake Gyllenhaal, which I'm like, a little bit. It's, I find it hilarious that like the fact that they're like, we're going to offer $50,000. Number one, that's $50,000 of taxpayers' money. So no. Number two, if it's insurance money, they can afford higher. That's fine.
Yeah. And also, like, that's not even enough to cover some people's medical debt. Like, at least make it something that
that's like a reward in the Old West. Like,
like,
if you
find who do you think we are, Dr. King Schultz?
$50,000 will be all yours.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's okay. But then, and also too, just so everyone remembers, snitches get stitches.
Yep.
All right.
And I think this might be the thing to unite the left and right, because every single person, sound off in the comments if you got one, but like every person has a health insurance fucked me, a family member, someone I'm close to, over in some way or another. Both of my parents, like my dad with his Parkinson's, it's really like nailing him to a wall. Yep. I dealt with it. Teddy dealt with it. Dina, okay, kind of. But like...
Aw, thanks, Victoria.
I have no idea what that means. But like...
she just gave me money.
Oh, okay.
I'm her house slave. It's fine.
Gotcha. He's a power bottom. All of those things have happened to you or someone you know in the United States. And then that guy fell victim to American natural selection was the word I heard.
Well, Some people are like, "Oh, America has to fix its healthcare." I'm like, I'm pretty sure they just used the Second Amendment to fix their healthcare system. So,
and that's kind of what it's for on paper. And I'm not real. I don't like guns, but
yeah, you're a tree hugger, but hey, justice
Yeah.
is justice. Sorry, that's after all is said and done. The whole point
Yeah.
of the Second Amendment was that you couldn't be lorded over. That you always had an option. It's a horrible option. And you know what?
Yeah.
Nobody condones murder, but justice, not even vengeance, just justice. Because remember, this guy, a few people have stated, they're like, this guy had blood on his hands. Like, there's under no uncertain terms, this man was responsible for people dying. I read an article today that was telling about a guy's experience, how somebody met him in an ER, and he was like, yeah, I got into a really bad motorcycle accident, and the insurance is after me for $1 million that I will no way, I'm never going to pay it. He goes, and I've spent the last 10 years being stalked and harassed by them, and he's like, I'm at the point where I wish they just let me die. And you're like, that's horrible.
It also costs money to die. How fucked up is that?
Bro, don't even get me started. It's been 2 weeks of.
I can't remember the quote, but it's something like, I don't wish death on anyone, but I have read many an obituary with great pleasure. That's not mine. I can't remember where it's from, but something to that effect. Let me see if I can find it.
Quality entertainment, that's for sure. But that's, yeah, but like realistically, it's one of those things where like, I'm so happy that people are so unified in this, because you're like, let's be honest, we do need a villain, and clearly that villain is insurance companies. That's fair. That's, you know, and every CEO is now hiring private security, which I'm like, hilarious, because
there's a book that I love called Ministry for the Future that the idea is that we start treating future people as a demographic the way you would men, women, children, certain races, etc. And part of the reason that this happens is that rich people start having to look over their shoulders. Like private jets get hunted by drones and things like that. And okay, Clarence Darrow. I have never wished a man dead, but I have read some obituaries with great pleasure. There you go.
Listen, this is okay. Hold on. Did you know that the police in the Maldives arrested a coconut for loitering at a presidential election? I mean, what did that coconut look like? Did it have a shady look to it? Because remember, coconuts can look that way.
I believe it's now all coconuts are bastards. Is that the?
I mean, it's technically, there are certain areas where they're like, yeah, beware of falling coconuts, because it will like a coconut.
Yeah,
is heavy and it will take you out. Which horrible. Can you imagine being like, how'd you go? I'm like, coconut fell on me. You're like, that is horrible.
We were on our honeymoon and we were underneath a palm tree and we was kissing, and then boop, she died.
Like, no one would believe you. Be like, yeah, I lost my wife to a coconut accident. And you're like, you're gonna have to elaborate on that coconut accident there, sir. We just don't didn't jive. You're like, no, it's just random. You're like,
It turns out the insurance company doesn't cover coconut death.
When I was a kid, we were going to visit my grandma in Florida. We're walking along the beach, and I picked up a coconut because I was like, "Oh, coconut!" And it turns out there was a hill of fire ants under there. Oh. So they immediately like swarmed me, and my sister like shoved me into the ocean.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my god!" She just goes wham, like in the back, square in the back, and then I just face planted into the water, got him off me.
Which, like,
thanks, Phoebe.
You got a face full of salt water, and you're like, "Thank you for saving me." Now my eyes and nose burn. I mean, that's fair. Yeah. That's reasonable.
I guarantee you, before I came up, popped back up from the water, she must have been thinking, I get to push him and I'm going to be rewarded for this. Nice.
100%. 100%. Like, those are the best crimes, right? Like, that's what the adjuster is feeling right now. He's like, I did something good and everyone loves me. This is, like, that guy's not going to pay. If anyone who sees him wearing the same jacket and, backpack is now in police custody, filled with Monopoly money, which, it's fantastic.
Like, this is the time for us to really to really come together on this. The fact that the 2024 election didn't have anything about healthcare in it, it's kind of fucked. We had healthcare in 2016 and 2020, not like like platforms on healthcare, and they didn't for 2024. And maybe this was gonna come no matter what the result was.
I 100% believe that people have hit a breaking point though, because like it's the same thing where you have people who are going to university spending hundreds of thousands of dollars and then can't find a job.
Yeah.
That's right. And now you're going, okay, so people will pay thousands upon thousands of dollars for coverage and then have every claim. Let's be honest, it's not young people that you're worried about, but the fact is you get to a certain point. Even we were talking, so we have visitors from overseas right now that are going to be staying with us for a little while, and they were explaining how in some countries, if you're over the age of 70 and you get a serious illness, they just send you home. They're like,
but you're 70.
You're 70.
You die. That's the.
It's not even that. It's more so. Listen, you're now a burden, and I'm like, is it harsh? Yes, but it's not like they're denying you pain meds or anything. They're just going, listen, you're not. This isn't going to be good for you. You know, you're not going to come out and be like, I feel 10 years younger. No, you're going to feel worse.
I'm 60.
Yeah. So it's, and I'm like, I don't. It's not nice, but I get it. And I remember an older gentleman that I knew, he was in his 90s and he fell down from a ladder and broke both of his forearms, which you're like, that sucks. But he was in great shape walking around. So both of us right.
Oh, no, I mean like radius or ulnar, because there's two bones in the forearm.
I don't know.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
I didn't know him that well. He was my dad's friend. But thing is, like, so up until that point, like he was getting his driver's license. Like, so I think after the age of 85, you have to go every single year for a driving test, which I think it should be it from the age of 65.
I agree.
You know, 100%. But he was passing regularly, so he was very active. So they were like, "Oh, you're not just a senior citizen." He's like, no, I was doing something at the house. I was up on a ladder and this happened. And they're like, okay, we'll fix you up. No problem. And he was like 6 months, he was healed and he's back to doing shenanigans. And you're going, that's not the same, right? What we're talking about is like somebody who's 70, 80 years old in horrible shape. And that's like, I have one of my aunts here is over 80 and she walks faster than people in their 60s. And I'm like, bro, she looks youthful. And I'm like, what's the key? She's like, I eat clean and I never stop walking. I just constantly am on the go doing stuff. Because as soon as you stop, you stop. And I'm going, there's a certain part where we have a responsibility to health. And look, I'll be honest, we went to the UK last year and I was looking around and I'm like, man, the UK got fat. Like the pandemic ruined a lot of people.
Turns out Brexit was worse than we thought it was.
A little bit, right? Yeah. You get a new skeleton every 10 years or so. Yeah.
Okay, wait, hang on. I'm just going to read this out loud and tell me if this makes sense. You get a new skeleton every 10 years or so because of skin regeneration.
It's cell regeneration, but yeah.
Okay.
So it's the same thing with your liver and all that kind of stuff. But the problem is that if you don't take care of your health, each time that your body regenerates things, it does it in a poor fashion, right? And that's why, like look, I'm still fat. But I'm like, I'm trying to do better every day. Why? Because I know that like my big shocker was at the beginning of the pandemic when everyone was like at peak crazy. And I was like, if I suddenly can't get my pills, because they actually stopped, because I usually get a 90-day prescription. Same. And then they're like, we can only give you 30 days because that's
a big thing back and forth.
It is. And I was like, what the fuck? And like, I was kind of going, hold on. If I can't have my pills, what am I going to do? And then I'm like, you know what? It's been 5 years now. And this is my first 3 months of no diabetes pills. It's a big deal, but I'm like, that's a different journey that I'm on. But like, you know, not all of us have genes like Teddy, where he's got gorgeous hair.
And like,
I'm 75. You'd never know.
That's fantastic. But that's, you know, it's a reasonable, and that's why it's like, listen, there's a certain amount of accountability that everyone must have, which I'm like, that's fine, right? Like, look, Teddy, you're calling on behalf of your mom. They're like, well, you're not the patient. Are you out of your fucking mind?
Is the patient there? No, she's in the hospital. That's why I'm calling.
She's in a fucking coma. Honestly, like doing the Doubtfire thing, if that works, that works. Like,
No, I
Right.
did it. When I had it down to a science because I had every answer up on my screen.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, okay, here's the social security number, here's the birth date, here's this, that, the other, here's this, here's that. I was quick with my answers, and at some point, you know, I could have been like, well, you know, hey, I'm trans. Like,
Absolutely. Oh,
Okay. I get the joke, but like, don't do that.
Do it.
I mean, what? Because lots of times they would say, oh, your name is, and then it would be like my mom's name, and I would be like, well, were you going to sit there now and put a binary on the name? Like,
No.
Hey, that's when you just go, I've been smoking for 70 years.
I've been
Don't worry
smoking
about
for 7 years. I used to be a man. Why couldn't I say? I could have said, I mean, whatever. You can't
Absolutely.
stop it. It was so frustrating.
It's,
So frustrating.
that's the problem, is that in general you should never misrepresent yourself. But you're going, no, you made me because you're being crazy. You're not thinking for 10 seconds.
I
right?
could not get through to you any other way. I should not have to. But the thing that pissed me off the most was my parents were so diligent about all they cared about was getting that insurance payment in. I have gone, years without insurance. I had insurance. I didn't have insurance. My dad got a second job once just to make sure that they had insurance for when they needed it when they got older.
Yep.
That was their mindset forever. And the fact that they had paid diligently with rate increases, whatever, for that long of a period of time and kind of didn't really need it until that period of time. You're going to deny an ambulance? Are you kidding me after all the money that they gave you?
Yeah.
Like, why do it then? What's the point?
And
people get divorces not because of like how stressful it is, so that when their partner dies, they are not on the hook for the debt.
Yep.
That's
like Victoria taught me a term in Cantonese where it's like, it doesn't have a human taste. And you're like, that idea of like, look, Teddy knows this. There are like a million different ways to say love in Greek. Okay. And there are 5 primary ones, and they all refer to something distinctly different, right? Because there's familial love, lustful love, love for your partner, love for your siblings, love for your friend. Like, all these things are different because they are variations. But the fact is, you're like, if you're not acting as a human being, immediately you don't, whatever you have, you don't deserve. Like, an example, there was a whole thing where people were spending money on OnlyFans. One guy spent $5 million, and I'm like, bro, you didn't even touch it. You don't deserve money. It's that simple. You are a poor decision maker. You don't deserve anything, right? And it's this idea where you're going, if you pay insurance, you should get those benefits. If they try and wiggle away, you're going, yeah, listen, that was the reason why Mr. Incredible lost his job in the first one, because his boss was a piece of shit. And you're going, that's so ludicrous.
Yeah, the fact that he went on his like quest, or not his quest, but like why he became started doing hero work again, was he was so like he tried to help people the lawful way of like, here's how you like work through our system. And then his boss almost fired him for it, and then he grabbed him by the neck and threw him through the wall. And then he was like, screw that, if I can't help people the lawful way, I'll help them the chaotic way. Always back to the D&D thing, aren't I?
But look, it's that idea where, and like, I love using this explanation where when a new restaurant opens, I try and go there in the first 6 months because they will give it their all. But after 6 months, the accountants get in and they start telling you, oh, you can't actually fill that ramekin with sauce. It's only half full. That's the budget we have. And you're going, this is the problem, is when you have accountants making decisions for portion size and all these kind of things, you no longer have your creative freedom. And in the same sense, when you have a country, an entire country that's based on, well, who's liable, right? You've given all this power to insurance companies. You're like, listen, I'm sorry, an insurance company should, under no uncertain terms, be able to dictate how long anesthesia should last for a procedure. That's it. It's no. And they're making decisions. Well, was that necessary? I'm the doctor. I'm telling you it's necessary. Shut your goddamn yapper, or I'll cut you. It's that simple. And he's a doctor. He's allowed to cut you. It's his job. It's fair.
That was such a great tag on the end there.
Thank you.
There's an Onion article. Every time there's a mass shooting in the U.S., they will repost the same article, which is "No way to stop this," says only nation where this routinely happens. Recently, due to this incident, it says "No way to stop this," says only nation without universal health care.
Yep.
Hey, look, if anything, like, you made your bed. Sorry. It's just it's one of those things where, you know, it's bothered as a Canadian, right? I'm watching things from the outside, and it was very hard. I'll be honest with you. The day after the election, I texted Atlas. I'm like, "Hey, how are you doing, buddy?" And he's like, "I'm not good. I'm not." He very Costanza the response. He's like, "I'm not good. I gotta talk to somebody. I'm having issues. I'm worried, and I have a problem." And I'm going,
"You're just getting upset.
You're just getting upset." And I'm like, "Hey, man, no one's coming to your house. Everything's fine. But definitely talk to them. Why? Because that shouldn't be how you feel, right?"
No.
So the fact that this has unified everyone is kind of the most fucking American thing since fucking World War II, bro. Like I'll be honest with you. It is unparalleled how everyone goes, "Yeah, fuck insurance companies." And you're like, we're back at it. All right. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. You know? I don't know.
I like how Ali keeps posting like random fun facts. One of them is, did you know the U.S. government has an emergency plan for the Islamic?
I do know that. It's actually not a good plan. It's not a good plan. It's horrible.
I use this in my English class. The CDC, the Center for Disease Control has a graphic novel, a comic strip on what to do during the zombie apocalypse. Yeah. And I had my ninth graders like analyze it and stuff like that. Yeah,
what do we do?
Well, the CDC wants you to hug them and give them hearts and prayers. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It's more like find out how they work, like what kind of zombies are they? And
if they're lurkers or if they're fast, how can they move?
Yeah, if they're slow, if they're fast, do you have to destroy the brain? Is it that sort of thing? Like, how do those things work? And also, that's where World War Z, the book, came from. It was based off of that comic where they use the same.
And that didn't go well.
It's a great book. Shit movie. Great book.
Yeah. But you got to understand that zombies, so everyone knows, zombies still consume. And if they consume, that means that they will get backed up. So technically, all they have to do is eat so much until their guts fall out, and then they will just...
Until they get the shits and drink some prebiotic soda or whatever. I forgot what the bit was. From
Dr. Pepper.
Think Dr. Pepper. It's just, we flood the streets with Dr. Pepper, and it'll take care of itself.
Pepper.
I'm Captain Pepper now, just head of the military. It's fine. It's but that's the thing is,
Pepper, yeah.
It's if you isolate for a reasonable amount of time, that the problem should take care of itself, and then you just go up and we have to clean up, and that's the whole other issue, right? But God, we're solving problems here today, Atlas. My God, it's fantastic.
So it's a very like surreal moment to be happy about something that probably, like, on paper, someone getting shot should not make you happy, but the fact that it does, I'm gonna take my happiness where I can get it.
Look, it's it's what we cheer for in movies. It's what we love about comics. It's all the stuff that we are kind of geared to do. Like we clapped when the shark blew up in Jaws. We like it's what we do.
Listen, we identified the villain accurately, and we are happy when they suffer their just desserts.
So I mean, it's not like this is like shocking, or it's like, wow, I can't believe the country is this way. This is how it's the basis of a script.
Hollywood, take notes. I mean, listen, we don't need a Fast and the Furious 12. Yeah.
Anne Hathaway, you don't even have to audition. We're going to offer only you.
Listen, this is what the movie is. It's gonna be Jake Gyllenhaal is framed, but it was actually Anne Hathaway the whole time. That's how we do
Yeah.
it. You know?
And he's in court. He's like, "Are you kidding me? Would I say Princess Diaries, bitch, before shooting someone in the head? Look at her. Look at Anne Hathaway."
Yeah. Like, no way, she's too nice. It was always you, Gyllenhaal. That's fine. Yeah. That's
just wait. Okay. Other movies she's been in. Les Miserables. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. That was somebody suggested that Les Mis should be like only one character should be a real person, and everyone else should be a Muppet. And I'm like, I would watch that.
Of that is like a writing exercise. Like, what movie? If you just take the one and the rest of the movie is Muppets.
Every movie. Every movie. Yeah.
Is Juno.
Sure. Well, they kind of look like Muppets already.
I know,
yeah,
but also with that dialogue, that sounds Muppet as hell. Thanks, Diablo Cody. But like the just imagine like the sex scene where she just has like a small puppet on top of her.
That's fair.
I've wanted this for a long time.
Listen, Cole says when a villain dies, you should applaud.
I've wanted this for a long time.
But he says, hey, when a villain dies, you should applaud. That's just polite. Absolutely. That's it. It's one of those things that you're just like, hey man, I feel like I'm a firm believer that in 10 to 15 years it's going to come out, maybe even longer, but that during the pandemic, or maybe because of the pandemic, that we definitely are experiencing a new renaissance. And I feel like this event as well is going to show a massive turning point that, there's something that's dare I say, fixing itself. And we're gonna see it in the next little bit. And
I hope so. Like the fact that when this first happened, there was a mega thread on the medicine subreddit, and it got shut down because doctors, not regular people, doctors, kept jumping in and making jokes about it.
Wow.
Hey man, can you imagine though? Like
professionals for all that you do, not you insurance people. You can go fuck yourself.
There you go. That's it. Did you know if you shoot someone in the hip? Ali Pro, you've gone unhinged, sir.
At least spell there correctly, please.
I mean, let's be honest. He probably did that just to mess with you. Anyways, this has been fantastic. Teddy, where can everyone find and follow you? Because let's be honest, your thumbnail profile pic is fantastic. I used it for this profile pic. It was beautiful.
That was in a bathroom. I walked into the bathroom. It was so beautiful.
It was a beautiful bathroom.
I know. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna take a picture in this bathroom. And then I posted it and someone's like, are you in a bathroom? Because I didn't blur out the commode. All right, whatever. I'm at Teddy Margas pretty much everywhere.
Beautiful.
On everything.
Anything on the go coming out soon that you want to plug?
I have not been performing live lately because I have been acting. So I have a lot coming up. Can't talk about it now, but if you follow me, you'll find out soon enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I love it.
Follow us at Generation Dan in all the places, and new episodes of this show are put on your podcast app every Friday, except for the John Yabies one, because I had to re-edit it and re-upload it. Happens. And then you can follow me at Atlas Novak everywhere social medias are found, except for Twitter, because I nuked my thing from orbit. So on Blue Sky, on TikTok.
Too. So did I. Are you on Blueski?
Yeah.
I didn't start Blueski yet, but whatever.
Blueski, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. It's all at Atlas Novak. And if my students are here watching this, don't watch till you graduate. Okay, leave me alone.
That's fair.
Study.
Do you know?
And then you can be a guest and tell me stories about him in class. It'll be funny.
I kind of want to a little bit. Like after enough time's passed, sure, definitely.
I don't know. Anyways, I'm Dino the Genetic Marvel. As you can see, everyone here. Please like and subscribe. I am monetized on YouTube and I am posting stuff daily. We have a bunch of shows on the go. So we have Generation Dan on Sundays. We have Mondays, Life of Giants, where we talk about things in history and how it affects us as well, and a little bit of current events. We are starting a new show next Thursday called Mental Health, and it's going to be discussing how to be a man and not a jackass, basically. Maybe a little bit of jackassery, a little bit. Well, listen, you need a little jackassery. Otherwise, what's the point of living? Exactly, right. So we have that. We have Hammer and Cheese has moved to Saturday nights, so please make sure you tune into that as well because we are having a field day. Yesterday we had that show, and on Cole's channel we had 21,000 views. So it is happening. So
That's pretty cool.
It's a big deal, and you know what, we're really happy with it because we're having a great time at it. And we are also working on a show that's going to be about money and how money works and all that kind of stuff, kind of giving financial education to everyone, which is a little tricky just because I'm in Canada, so rules are a little bit different, but we're trying to work on it to get
You're
done.
just arguing on pound sterling versus the dollar back and forth for an hour.
100%. Listen, pound sterling's at $1.70 for Canadians. I'm like, I should buy some and just have some for next time I go. It's just, it's a good investment. But please like, share, subscribe. Send this to your favorite person. Send it to your worst enemy. If you put their name in a super chat with some money, we will make fun of them actively. We will happily do that because we are for sale. So please don't hesitate. We appreciate the support. And if it doesn't keep on going, we will hunt you down. That is just what we do. Anything else?
That's it from me.
That was
awesome.
Oh, right. Nexus at Night, my Cardfight Vanguard show streams every Friday. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah. Excellent. Have a great rest of your day, everyone, and we will see you later.
Bye, folks.